Welcome back. Let's bring in our correspondent, Charles Oporom, joining us from Port Harcourt, the River State capital. Charles, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Wike. Good morning from Port Harcourt.
Yes, the more we want Port Harcourt and River State to be off the news, the more they drag themselves in. It's a lot of drama when it comes to River State. But in just like 2-3 minutes, let's find, because we saw the screening exercise that happened. Some persons were cleared, some persons were not cleared. Of course, the list clearly showed that those that were loyal to the prominent loyalists of Fubara, Governor Fubara, were not cleared. And then others that were loyal to the FCT minister were cleared. And then I think we asked Ikenga that question. He said, well, the screening committee had to do their work. It wasn't particularly targeted at anyone. But what's the latest update?
Okay, so continuing from where Mr. Ikenga stopped at the last conversation you had with him on Monday, yesterday when we interviewed him with regards to the appeals committee. Okay, sorry, just a little bit of, let's take you back a little bit. After the screening committee finished and they released that statement saying, oh, these people have been recommended for clearance, while these other people have been recommended for non-clearance, right? There is an appeals committee. The appeals committee started sitting yesterday at about 10 a.m. It's led by a gentleman called Abdul Mahmood, alongside 2 other people. So they are receiving appeals from the 66 members rather, who were recommended for non-clearance, those who were not cleared, including the likes of the 3 lawmakers who are loyal to the governor. Honorable Timothy from Opobonkoro, Honorable Sokari Goodboy from Ahoda West, and of course, Honorable Victor Okujumbu. Now, they came yesterday. They refused to be filmed, so we just managed to steal a few shots. Okay, you rolled one of Sokari Goodboy having a conversation with somebody. And interestingly, the complaints they had, according to the leader, the chairman of that appeals committee, Mr. Abdul Mahmood, was that after the screening exercise, nothing was communicated to them. In fact, I know for a fact that the former or the serving lawmakers, that is the incumbent lawmakers, weren't even asked any questions. I've spoken to 1 or 2 of them, and they said, okay, they presented their documents and they were asked to take a bow and go, because of course they are serving, so they were given that, they are accorded that respect, including Sokari Goodboy himself and Victor Okujumbu. Okay, so he said he was surprised to have seen his name as among those who were not cleared, and nothing was communicated to them. This particular bit of information is very, very important, because the chairman of the appeals committee himself, Mr. Abdul Mahmood, also said yesterday that when he was having a conversation with the appellants, they raised the same question. Every single one of them said, nothing was told to us, nothing was said to us, we just saw our names on social media that we weren't cleared. So the appeals process has started. So they look at your documents, look at your appeals process, find out why you weren't cleared. They said they have received the report from the screening committee and that they are studying it while having a conversation with the appellants. There is a gentleman from Andoni, Mr. Gugu. He complained that when he went there, he was told that the reason why he wasn't cleared was that he had not paid annual party dues, I think for this year or last year. I can't remember the year he mentioned again. But then he said, those who vote in congresses, have they paid? Those who went to the national convention, have they paid? So that he felt it was a flimsy excuse, So some other aspirants had, they had different things to say about that. But coming to the point of those who are believed to be loyal to the FCT minister being screened and cleared, and those believed to be loyal to the governor being not cleared, we asked Mr. Shibiki Ikenga that question yesterday. And his response was that, oh, the FCT minister is not a member of the APC, so it is not fair to bring him into an internal affair of the APC. So that was basically his response, basically a denial that the FCT minister was behind the non-clearance of the governor's loyalists. Jeff.
Interesting. We'll continue to keep tab with you on this development. I'm looking at the list of things that were given as reasons for not clearing, including not being financially up to date, inducement, attempted bribery of committee members, submission of unsworn affidavit, failure to present voter card, failure to present party membership slips, conflicting dates of birth, failure to confirm payment of membership dues by nominators, irregular party membership, numbers of nominators, inconsistencies in names appearing on submitted document, insufficient nominators with required number which fall short of 3 nominators per ward, invalid affidavit that failed to disclose. Now, I want to believe that this is written in their law, so anybody who is going for screening should have been just like you're going to write JAM. You already know what is expected in JAM. And as a matter of fact, we'll need to further probe after this entire exercise, Charles, that whether all of these parties disqualifying people, they align with Section 85 of the Electoral Act, which stipulates clearly on the only reasons why you can disqualify anyone. Bukola, do you have any?
Well, I'd just like to know, Charles, what's the mood like, at the government house, if you have any hint, especially since the governor emerged from that screening and, gave his no comment response to pressmen. Is there any indication that, he's engaging in conversations or, rethinking a new line of action, if indeed he was not screened?
Okay, so the best way to gauge these things, on the part of social media where we are, we have the Wikematic people and the simplified people. So when you look at the kind of posts that they make, you see those of them that they call themselves Wikematic people. From the name, you know where they lean already. They're basically celebrating. You see posts like, you had an agreement with us. You want to dribble us like Ronaldo. Don't worry, VAR has caught you. Posts like that, basically coming out to gloat, if you like. And then you have posts from simplified people saying, don't worry now, you see, we'll find a way. That VAR that caught us, that VAR is going to, give a decision in our favor. So it's very, very interesting when you see how the banter is going left, right, and center. But as of this moment, the problem with the current administration is there's a lack of sufficient information coming out of the governor's office, out of the if it's not the president, they say the presidency. I don't know if there's a word like the governancy, but coming out of the government house, we don't have a lot of information, and so we are left to speculate. The chief press secretary, we don't have a commissioner for information yet, so they are not speaking to us as they ought to. So that is allowing speculation to thrive, and in the absence of truth, half truths or lies, speculation would rule the day. So that's the problem we're having here.
Charles, look, Rivers politics is both exciting, intriguing, and volatile all in one breath. Ours is that whatever happens after 2027 should be a bit more peaceful, because I've never seen what has happened in the last 4 or 3 years in any state. 3 attempted impeachment. A House of Assembly of 4 passing a budget of 800 billion naira. House of Assembly of 3 passing even higher amount. A state of emergency. The lawmakers. It's just a literal conundrum. It's exhausting.
In the next couple of days, there's a lawyer here. I think Chetam Mwala. He's going to be leading a one-man protest to demand that the governor must go and present the budget. So, because he has not presented it.
Again, I think I even forgot one bit. It was the National Assembly that passed one of the budgets, you remember? And
yes,
that budget can actually run, by law, if you pass a budget, say for 2026, for instance, or even if you don't have a budget for a new year, you have until, I think, June, that you must present a new budget. I'm just saying that Rivers leadership and politics, it's just a conundrum. But almost, thank you. We'll keep that up with you, and we'll be back.
Thank you.
Let's